I keep on calling you A, but I think you and A might have become separate entities now. From the moment you began to have new memories, you both started to walk different paths. I must wonder how the memories separated you from A. Well, even if you do have differences, it's still important for you to witness this place through A's eyes. Why do we repeat this eternal cycle, enduring endless suffering? What's at the end of the line? What kind of world was it that he saw? The answers to these questions are what you must know. However, the choices you make are up to you, not him. As a consequence of those choices, you may lose it all, or you may gain everything. I'm not trying to control you. I just try to support you. That is my role here. Plus, I have seen many other exes who made it this far, and witnessed the innumerable amounts of efforts and failures they made. Now you are here, scrabbling over it all and climbing up. Of course, I have kept all their data in my head, but it is not my place to share it with you. A machine has its own work to do. That's what you, or A, once said to me. You've returned. So, did you have fun with your little journey while I was locked up here? Don't worry, I'm not mad with you. Oh sorrow, you see, finally have I come to respect you, for I know you will never depart. It's difficult to perceive the flow of time here. Therefore this eternity has saved me. Have you seen the turbid streams of the enormous river that crossed the whole city? If you arrive downstream, after the raging rapids in a serpentine current, you will see a meadow that is enormously broad, but also tranquil. That land is bathed with all kinds of mud, sand, trash, and the residuals that have come from the upstream. What isn't caught by the upstream or midstream finally ends up here, downstream. To bear all the residues that pile up, one would need a strong back that doesn't break easily. I have faced many wells here. I have to draw water every single day, but it seems the water level never lowers. What is a well? The well is so deep that it would be a hollow affair to reckon its depth, and it is the fount and relic of all humanity that has existed from the ancient times. The water from the well had never flown outside, ever. There had only been the small ripples that permeated from the leaves that fall for the winds. Maybe it was an act of generosity towards those that are thirsty, so that they may sate themselves. Gee, thanks for the answer, Binah. It was you who made the bucket. But you left the duty of drawing water with the bucket to another. Don't ask for my name. Binah isn't the name of a person. It's a sad name of the place where one finds many graves. I'm the one who draws the water. Why have you come here, and what do you wish for me to draw? We have to extract 5 or more HE grade ego or higher. This is the mission that Old Faith is useful for, that I said like all the way back in episode 4. And actually, I don't even think we'll need it for this mission. Actually, wait, maybe. I think the HE we got only drops 4 equipment, or maybe only 3. Whatever, we'll use it if it comes to it. But we're switching to records, because we have to alternate if we want to be able to finish the game. And without looping all the way back to day 1. Welcome back to Lobotomy Corp. It's not quite time to start the middle layer suppressions yet, just because we can't do Binah's mission during the core suppression. So we're starting off just with another new abnormality and record team instead. Other than that, pretty much the same thing as yesterday. Don't expect this to be a particularly long video. All Around Helper is an HE level abnormality, does red damage. It has a Quilthoth count. It prefers instinct and repression, and it is a useful trainer for both in the HE tier. It has a Quilthoth counter of 2, which can lower on a normal or a bad result. It has a normal chance on a normal result and a high chance on a bad result. When its Quilthoth counter is 0, it will breach. It has 300 HP, and it will enter a room that has employees in it and then charge up for a couple of seconds. After it's done charging up, it'll launch itself forward and do 20 to 30 red damage to everything in the way, and then stop at the end of the room and then repeats the same cycle over and over again. It's not a very hard breach to deal with. His equipment is okay. Its weapon, you only get 1 copy of it, it's not great, but its suit is pretty good for the early game with a 0.6 red resistance, but only a 0.9 black resistance, and weakness is to white and pale. I definitely prefer Scarecrow's suit out of the similar set of equipment, but it's still good. All Around Helper is just it's just pretty good HE level abnormality, but it's not one of the best. we're back in the day. It's another very basic day where nothing much happened besides just the same sort of training you've seen repeatedly. And getting all the information for a new abnormality, but new abnormality's not anything interesting anymore. It would have been cool if it was like the first HE we had, but we've seen HEs before. It's not really gimmicky or anything, so just a pretty simple day overall. Once the like I said yesterday, this stuff is really just basic by now. Meltdowns are about to start for the middle layer though, so we'll have more difficult days shortly. Really, the only super interesting thing to do is just have the control team work on Snow White's apple today instead of everyone else. That just meant people had to make the super long walk from control to welfare because I was too lazy to move them there. And also I needed them to fight ordeals in control. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just kind of having people in the control team work on Snow White's apple for the training. I'm trying to get Yeti to get the gift because Yeti already has the weapon equipped and I'm very lazy, so it would be helpful if someone who already has the weapon gets the gift. But literally no one has the gift right now, which is bruh. It would make the weapon a lot better. But whatever, I guess. I should, if it comes to it, I'll dedicate some time to farming for it shortly because we're about to get something that'll make it a bit easier to farm eco gifts. Yeti just hit a normal result on Snow White's apple. It was hard to see, but Centauri's now left this clip in because Snow White's apple just escaped. All it takes is a single bad work with it. Bad, and by bad I mean normal or bad, and it will probably escape because your luck is bad in this game. But it's not like it's an actual threat when it escapes, because we have two people in a left gear who are very close to its location. Yeah, they beat it pretty easily. It wasn't even an interesting fight. And we've long since established how strong that equipment is. The vines are still there in the one corridor where she was, but I mean, they're not really a problem. Also, both the people who fought it are still hanging out there. Now that we're in Melted Level 5, I just got left in there because there is nothing else over there the entire rest of the day. Our noon ordeal was a Crimson Noon. It spawned up in, I believe, welfare, and I just had welfare and records deal with it. I mean, they were pretty close, but I wanted to make sure that the dawns that spawned would be covered if they landed in that hallway because Judgment Bird is there. And also to a less extent Little Red, but Little Red's not really a big threat. Judgment Bird could easily wipe out people because we have a lot of people in 2 times weak to pale suits and it hits an entire room at a time. It's definitely one of the bigger threat abnormalities we have here. Judgment Bird breaking out does not mean that Apocalypse Bird could break out anymore though, because Marie's still alive. As long as she's alive and is wearing the Apocalypse suit, she'll be fine. Scarecrow broke out, and Little Red broke out, and because I left somebody in the shelter, Porcupus broke out. Triple breakout at once, but none of them were a major threat, so whatever. It's not like most of the stuff in our facility can't really hold a candle to our employees right now. By our employees, I mean mostly just our best 2, but really everyone else is pretty overgeared for anything below WA. In case you're wondering why I forgot out the shelter, it's because I was focused on seeing if you had to be able to make it to Snow White's apple. Because she had to walk all the way down from control, and she was fine in the end. Central is literally fighting Scarecrow in its cell. That can't happen. Scarecrow moves pretty slowly, so it's one of the ones you see that happen with the most. And both Little Red and Scarecrow are down, so now I can focus on fighting Porcupus. I was considering just having information do it, then I got lazy and I was like, the left people can fight it. Porcupus is not really a threat to anyone anymore, except for the newbies. But even the newbies won't take a ton of damage because they all have Temperance 5, and it only does a lot of damage if you're at Temperance 3 or below. It's not really a problem anymore. If you remember the beginning of the game, it was definitely a threat then. There was a time where I had to like fast forward its suppression for like because it was like 10 minutes of raw footage, and because I only had 2 people who could fight it. But nowadays, the people who can fight it is most people in the facility. I'm just making sure that the clerk's rights abnormalities don't escape, because I haven't been executioning bulleting anyone, so there have been quite a few clerk fatalities. Big Bird's in being worked on, so he's at a few goods during his Quiltoff counter backup, but Clouded Monk is at 1, which is not great, but I mean, we could deal with Clouded Monk if he escapes. Now I only have 1 Fortitude training in need of newbie at a time. I've been using exclusively the Wolf because it's just a bit more efficient than Little Red, and I like its gift more. And I'm not using Little Helper just because it's an HE, and the person working with Little Helper is just training Justice up from 2. A lot of Justice trainers require having a Justice of 3 or above to be efficient, or to not be really annoying to work with. For example, Snow-White's Apple has a far lower rate for people of Justice 3 or below. That's why it was hard to train Justice start from 2 to 5. Anyway, Christopher, I had to break his equipment because Little Red Helper only has 4 pieces of eco equipment. I need 5. Christopher's is broken, so we can recraft it, and we have 5 now, so we can finally finish Binah's mission. That's why I was happy about getting Old Faith and Promise, by the way. That mission can actually be a bit annoying if you don't remember it exists, because I don't normally buy all the equipment in one day, so leaving the equipment to later is a bit, I would be too dumb to remember to do it. Also, Binah's upgrades, well, her first upgrade is pretty strong, or the upgrade I'll be getting first, so it's definitely something I want right away. Additionally, the lefts and the walls, as you might have noticed, do not give a lot of equipment, because their equipment is very good, and you are more likely to get those than HEs by this point. We just have been getting unlucky. So that's another reason why that mission can be kind of annoying. But with that, the day is over. Growths are about as expected. The only things to note is that despite working pretty much the entire day on an HE level abnormality training Justice, Alex did not cap Justice. This is because HE level abnormalities are not as good as Wallace, shockingly, at training. By shockingly, I mean not really shockingly at all. Also, Pesca managed to gain a single point of Justice from her 1 work with 1.76 megahertz, which I think is funny. FO249 is an HE level. With my infinite hatred, I give you this gift. DO3109 is an OLF. And my dear employees, I do hope you all put on the gas mask we distribute you before I enter. And DO389 is another OLF. If a fallen system disables the sensors covering the abnormality, we will once again have to sincerely consider how to disobey the manager. Both DO3109 and OO389 are kind of more annoying OLFs to work. I think 109 would be safer for our facility right now, although I think we could probably work both with what we have. And I will roll, and I rolled a 3. And now it is time for Shelter Lore. A bomb shelter that completely protects its interior from all hazardous influences of the outside world, including light. The shelter still retains the memory of that day. Company P wished to construct the safest place on Earth. As such, the interior of this shelter houses a large number of non-perishable goods, which would allow anyone who stayed inside to survive for an extremely long period of time. Thanks to this shelter, the selected refugees were safely shielded from the ocean of endless screams and bloodshed. However, this shelter, while perfectly safe on the inside, alters the reality of the outside to be even more hopeless. It literally makes itself into the safest place on Earth. What a beautiful story.